Hello, welcome to another episode of Freshly Spoiled with Monique and Ryan.
Hi.
We just saw Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I think that should be the name of this podcast. We just saw.
We just
Because every one of them I say, we just saw.
So this was the first movie I think I was really, really excited to see
Yeah,
that we've watched so far.
I suspected that, yes.
Yeah.
I, like every other episode, I'm going to stop saying it this episode, but would not have seen this movie.
You
if-
wouldn't have. Okay.
I would have seen it for you
Mhm.
because I knew you wanted to see it, but I myself, and had it not been for you
Yeah.
or the Oscars, it's getting some talk about some things in the Oscars. Wouldn't have gone to see
It's
it.
so funny because like watching the movie, I was like, all right, well, he has to see this movie anyway for the Oscars. Like I was starting to feel bad. I was like,
alleviated your
oh my
guilt
God. Yeah,
that
it did.
I
I
would
was
have
like,
been
he has
watching
to
it
see
anyway.
this anyway. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, well, I remember when I brought up that it was nominated. Not nominations aren't out, but they're talking about cinematography
Yeah.
and some other stuff. Maybe you were very relieved that you didn't have to drag me to it. That I was gonna have to go. But
Dun, dun, dun,
da,
dun.
da, da, I thought it was incredible.
Oh,
I mean, I was just absolutely blown away. I was enthralled there every
Amazing.
moment. You said you checked out at a certain point, and I was like,
yeah.
when did you check out of that movie?
Like I said, I think it was like right before the husband came into the living room with her, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I get entranced like with movies. It's dark, and there were a lot of like soft sounds in the movie that like kind of like I don't know. I just kind of was like, and it wasn't like I didn't fall asleep, but I definitely like felt my eyes closing and like getting
But out
into
of, like,
a zone.
Relaxing thing,
Yeah.
like almost like not ASMR, but
Yeah.
kind
Well,
like
there
that?
were some things. Yeah, there was like when he signed the agreement in
Contract,
the
whatever.
beginning. Yeah. The pen on the paper. I was like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I was like, we need to.
I thought just visually that was good. The writing of that, the calligraphy
Mhm,
of that,
mhm.
the signature on top of it, the whole thing. Like I wish the contracts looked that good these days. Like it's not really legible, although it was in a different language, I think. Just if
It's,
we
like,
took our time,
ornate
just
and-
made it wasn't even squared off. It was like rounded at
Yeah.
the top.
Uh-huh.
And it was like there's a wax seal on it.
Mhm.
Like we've lost all sense of grandiose delivery of anything.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that a lot during this movie, about the dress and the age, and I love that style. We've fallen so far from that, but so much of that is. I thought we should be doing that. We should be presenting ourselves in a way and getting dressed, but that was because it looks good and because it's there's like a strong barrier of entrance to that. You're impressed when you see it, but it's not a better life. Like it's not more comfortable. It's got to be a
Oh.
pain in the ass to get ready,
Hmm.
but it does look so much.
And think
better.
about like, especially for the women, like the corsets
Yeah,
that they
right.
had to wear, like
Yeah, it was
eating
all
and
like
just
it
breathing,
was-
sitting.
like we talk about now, like people try to keep up with their neighbors and the houses and stuff. So we still have that now, but that was a lot of that was based in that. It was like trying to presenting
Mhm.
yourself in a certain way, and there was a lot of fraudulent personality attached to that. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's a better life, but I do think that there is a space in between that and where we are now with
Right.
presenting ourselves. That would be a nice place
Right.
where we don't walk out of the house in our pajamas. I say we. I don't do it. I'm including myself in that to not be so judgmental. I don't leave my house in my pajamas. But
I think the part where they showed the blonde, the friend, that the house that they stayed in with
yeah,
the
the
two
wife.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they were first putting the kids up to bed, you saw like the two kids in the dress and the
Yeah.
woman, with their hair. And it's like crazy because she had such long hair, and then they like
They
just
tied it up,
tied
yeah.
it and braided it. And
I wonder
did
if
it
that
all
was a
nice.
wig at first, or you think they did that with her hair?
I don't know.
I just thought it did cross my mind when I saw that. I was like, well, that's
Yeah.
a severe haircut, like hair do.
Right.
I don't know if you call them do's then.
You're new.
Yeah, but then you see like they were obviously very rich, so they presented themselves in some way. But even the people you saw in the streets that were not
Mhm.
necessarily rich, just people in the town,
Yeah, I think
everybody,
it's like
there's
the
degrees of
quality
it,
of
but
clothing.
right,
Like it's
yeah,
like okay, you just get the blue cotton blend, and
yeah,
these people get like the embroidered
yeah,
silks and
yeah.
lace and
hmm
mesh, whatever.
Um, yeah. I mean, I did not expect. I once I thought, all right, I'm gonna go see this movie. I kind of just like, all right, give yourself over to it, and then I kind of started getting excited
Give yourself
about.
over.
I kind of started giving my getting excited about this movie that I don't really know. I don't know anything about the backstory. This isn't my world at all. I'm not a horror movie fan. I'm not a vampire movie fan. I'm not. This is just not my world at all. So I'm like, all right, well, this might be a better place to go into it as a complete noob to this stuff. Like this is your entrance to this stuff. I've seen some of this stuff before. I don't like anything that's based in this mythical thing. I like a lot of realism in my movies.
Mhm.
But something about the way they shot this movie and the all the choices they made, I was like, yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
love
great.
this. Yeah.
Awesome. Um, I didn't realize that um, the main character was Johnny Depp's daughter.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that
Yeah.
either. Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. And like looking at her now, I'm like, oh, I see it.
Yeah.
But like the whole movie, she's just like a very unique face. I'm just looking at her
Yeah.
and being
I kept
intrigued by that. But
I kept wanting her to be. I'll get back in frame. I kept wanting her to be Christina Ricci.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she kind of looked like her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very loosely, but I just feel like that slick back hair,
Big.
big
Forehead.
and
Yeah.
kind of like noticeable face.
Mhm.
Not that I think Christina Ricci is. I think it's good that it was kind of not nobody, but I would have. I'm too much of a fan of Christina Ricci. I would have been too in my head about that
Mhm.
while she's on screen. So I'm not saying I wish it was Christina Ricci. She's also probably aged out of this role. But yeah, no, I didn't know that. And then I didn't know the main actor. Do we know his
Count Orlok.
Count?
You-
Who?
Nosferatu. Like.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. So what's the story? So he's a count. He was a count.
Yeah. That's Skarsgård. What's his name? Bill.
Peter Skarsgård or Bill
Bill
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe that. I didn't realize that either. I go into these movies not knowing anything.
Yeah.
I
well,
don't like do research before. I don't like see who's in them. I don't know.
Why isn't this coming up? I'm typing in Nosferatu and it's not.
What are you trying to find?
I want to find out. I want to see the cast.
William Dafoe. I didn't know that he was going to be in it. I was happily surprised by that.
Why did it take? I mean, I spelt it right, and it took like I had to type out the whole thing to find it. Nicholas Holt. So what else has he been in?
Okay, the husband.
Mad Max, About a Boy. Yeah, I don't know a lot of these like characters. Bill Skarsgård
Yeah.
was Count. So wait, he was in Barbarian.
Pennywise, right?
He was
Or
in,
was that? I always
was-
confuse him and his brother.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, so I saw him in Barbarian
Barbarian.
and in the first It. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Did you like that his portrayal?
Yeah.
I thought all his choice was great. I mean, I don't know how much of that voice stuff was done post production.
The wheezing and stuff like that, or
The wheezing and just his like the accent and like the rolling.
The rolling.
Yeah, like
I thought that at first I thought it was a little too much, but then it worked.
yeah. I loved it. As soon as like the first time I heard it, I was like, "Oh, this is." And I didn't even hear. Sometimes I couldn't understand what he said.
Yeah.
I think that was like they knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't wait. I want to find the script to this movie because I love so many of the phrases that they said, like the old timey phrases, and especially the things that he said.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so he was a count, and then turned into he was turned into a vampire, like a vampire, at some point.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but yeah.
Yeah,
How close does this have to
just a little
be?
bit. Just a little, not that's good.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's just so cool. So, but he is but he's known as Nosferatu as well.
Yeah.
So he's that, and then he's also like they call them like the Shadow. They call them a couple different things
Yeah.
in the movie.
Hmm.
Um,
I thought it's the like the possession part of it was interesting. Like I think that's different than like most vampire movies. You know, um, like like a Dracula type of thing. Yeah, like they're like people are usually under the spell, but not like a demonic, like
mhm.
possession.
So this didn't
Like it
follow.
was almost like an exorcist type of situation,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. There was an exorcist aspect to it.
Yeah.
I did think about she had to do so many wacky things, like
With her body?
with her
Oh
body.
man, yeah, that was
And I'm like,
great.
were they like in the casting? Like, did she like audition for the role? And they were that last time when she was being possessed before. I think right before you. That's right. Yeah, you said you checked out like right before they came in the living room together. You meant like before they had sex. And she
Yeah.
was like, and she said like, you could never satisfy me the way
Yeah,
you
and then
could.
he just like
Which is
unzipped
like
his
the
pants
ultimate cuck move.
and
um, yeah. But right before that, she had been kind of like freaked out, right? So she had to like do that. I would imagine
I mean,
she
I
had
did
to
see
do.
that part too.
She had
Yeah,
to do a lot. Yeah. So before they entered the room, I guess is what.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But I was wondering, did she? Well, like, is she in the room? All right, now can we see her like kind of like freak out? She had to be like.
She did it so
Look
good.
at that face that she made. Like I thought the same thing. Like, did she like? Oh, she had a tongue out
The
like
tongue
that.
out, yeah.
I'm like, how much of that is CGI? Because she definitely distorted her face a bunch, but like her tongue came out
That
way
must have
further
been
than
fun to just like,
freak out.
yeah.
Yeah, and then in the bed when she, like
Uh-huh.
kind of stood up on the
Did like
that
the
was-
bridge.
Yeah, she's just always creepy in a movie, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of a trope in horror movies, but it works. No, yeah, his voice, I loved that the way he spoke. He said, the things he said was great. That where he lived was so just dark and he was more chatty than you expect. Like you expect like this character who doesn't say anything. That's what I kind of expected. But he would he would communicate. He would talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like one guy's asking him questions about the village, is like he is talking a lot, but he's got a purpose for things he's saying. He doesn't want to chit chat about the village that he just left. He's like
no more questions
yeah,
about that.
that's the last I will hear of it. Yeah. But yeah, so this didn't follow the normal vampire thing where if a vampire bites you, is that a thing in vampire?
Yeah,
vampire
like
world?
I think
Or is that
usually
just
it's like you
zombies?
turn, and this was like you just
That's
die.
not the case. But he got what was his name?
Yeah,
he got bit a few times, and
yeah,
he
once
didn't.
again, the husband and her both got bit. And the blonde woman.
Yeah, but they didn't turn.
They didn't turn. No, they just eventually.
Oh, that sound when he would suck somebody dry. That sound like that. And then would do it again. And like, I was like, oh, gross.
Yeah. Well, when he was biting her on the chest,
Mhm.
and then the flesh was like ripping off,
Yeah,
and the sound. So you're like you saw it and you heard it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. So there's a couple things. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like I was just jumping to the end, but the end scene with him and the son, I thought was really beautiful. Like visually, it was gross, but it was like really like
No, it was.
I was like, whoa,
was-
that's so cool. And also she knew the whole time. She's like, no, I should be there. I should be meeting him. I need to be the one. I'm the one.
Yeah.
And like
So-
even William Dafoe's character was like, you're the one.
Yeah.
But then eventually towards the end he was just like let him go. Like let him do it. So I'm glad that she knew what she had to do
Yeah.
and she did it.
She did it.
And she sacrificed herself, and it was so beautiful. I did cry. I like held myself together though because I was kind of embarrassed that I was
Yeah.
crying. I was like, oh my
I
god!
thought it was.
But it was just so beautiful that she
Yeah.
did that, and then he came to her. You know, he saw her like that.
Yeah,
and-
I thought it was. I thought it was gorgeous visually. I thought the whole movie was absolutely stunning. The cinematography. I just looked up. Yeah, this is Jarin Bloshk. This is not a. I'm not good at saying names to start with, and then you're gonna throw this at me.
Sharon Blash. Yeah, I mean that's
Bloshk. Well, I don't know how to say your name, but you're phenomenal at your job. That was just gorgeous. It's like it's actually, from what I can tell from photography, it must be a lot harder to shoot a movie dark, to keep a movie dark, because you have to light enough people to see it. So you have to light certain things.
I liked that about
like,
it too.
You know, like poppy movies, like candy movies, you know, romantic comedies.
You just turn up
lights, all the lights are on, and we just, all right, we're gonna get you. And you know, so this is why we're filming this a little bit darker.
And I think it helps keep your attention too, because you're looking and you're visually scanning for like what is going to come next. And I think earlier in the movie they did a lot more of almost all black, like almost all dark, and then hints of the light coming through.
Yeah, but like when you can see like the lanterns lit, and you can see like it's almost looks like the scene is lit by the scene, the lights in the scene. Just from a photography, absolutely. I mean, I haven't watched all the movies, but I can't imagine me not thinking this is a winner for best cinematography. And a couple of times, like they use symmetry really well in this movie. Like a lot of the shots were perfectly symmetrical, and sometimes somebody would be standing in an arch, and they would be perfectly centered to the arch. Or when the two guys were standing by the bed, the woman's bed, you know, her bed. What do they call those? Like
frame? Or
no, like the thing when it has like the canopy, the bed canopy was like perfectly symmetrical, and they were standing perfectly on either side of it. So like they were
sure that made you
silhouetted by
happy.
that. Yeah, all that stuff was just like so. I was definitely, that was what kept me. Like I said, there wasn't a moment where I wasn't completely enthralled with what I was watching.
That's so happy to hear that. That's
But it was because of the cinematography. Like I was just so blown away by that, which made me think like, oh, I want to film a podcast. It's like this dark and this. So I was like, a lot of times I was taken out of it by like thinking about how I would like, what can we do to shoot the podcast in a darker light. But yeah, it was gorgeous. Yeah. That last scene, I think that last scene that when they pulled up was one of the sickest shots I've ever seen in a movie. I would absolutely, if that was like, if they made a poster size thing of that, like I would put like, and it's not if it said like Nosferatu in it, but just as an image, like I would hang that art in my house. And I'm not really that's not really my thing. That's kind of my ting. I said
it's not my ting.
It's not really my ting, man. But that's definitely that's more your thing. The dark, like the decay. You like you lean more into decay with
Sorry.
your something about the ting. But that I just the way it was shaped and the way he was laid on top of her was perfect. Yeah, so most of what I wanted to talk about was the themes of it, which I wrote down a few words that came to mind was just like he was saying, like she knew she had to do that because it's a consequences. Because when she was young, she made this plea and promise that she would give herself to this. She wanted this so bad, and while you were young, and while it's this evil entity took advantage of a young girl. That's what happens. You do things when you're young, and you pay for them for the rest of your life. I don't think they were trying to get any of these messages across, but as I'm watching, I'm like, there is a message in this.
I thought they were. I felt that too.
Yeah, I don't know because it's such an old story, so I don't know if they're I never want to assume. Sometimes messages in movies are very very heavy-handed. I don't think any of these were heavy-handed, so I'm just I'm looking for stuff.
But I
like,
kind of felt that way too. Like I was like, but maybe I was reading into things. But yeah, I felt that way.
Yeah, like this is you made like you're almost it was irresponsible for you to ever marry anybody because you knew this would happen. So it's like she is kind of to blame for she brought all this evil on that family, the family that she went to go live with. Like you knew this was all you knew it was all coming.
Yeah.
And
She tried telling everybody.
right, but when it was too late, like she and then my other question was, did he know that she got married? Did Nosferatu know that she got
Yeah.
married?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's why
he
he
sent for that guy.
mm-hmm.
He came up with a way to get him.
Yeah.
I wonder, like his job was perfect for that. I wonder if he was, what if he was a butcher? How would he have
I
gotten
know.
him?
It was just like
He called the butcher. I need a, 6 pounds of meat brought up to my, on horseback. But it was, that worked out perfectly. That his job
yeah.
could deliver him to him like that.
Actually, I think one of my favorite scenes was when he was on his way to the castle and he saw the horses running down the path at him. And then all of a sudden it just stops. It's loud and it stops and the carriage is empty and it's turned sideways and it just calls for him to like come into it. And then it takes him up the windy path, the road, and the horses come and
like the horses knew it, like pull up, stop. So that was another thing. That was one of the most beautiful shots I think in the movie was the forest, the way it was lit. It was snowing. It was lit. They lit it, and the production part of my mind is like, how did they shoot that? It's a dark set. I want to know where they shot this. First of all, like, was this all on set somewhere? Was this a sound stage somewhere? Was it a lot of green screen? But anyway, that scene was gorgeous. That long path. It was like a long path this way, and it was lit from the top. The trees would. It was absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And symmetrical, all symmetrical. And but then when the carriage turned, my problem with it wasn't completely symmetrical. The opening to the carriage wasn't perfectly down the path. I thought they missed, for me. And this is like, not everything needs to be symmetrical, but to me, I've told you this, like when I'm shooting photography, it's like, if you're close to symmetrical, then you got to nail it. You got to you got to be 100% symmetrical. Because a little bit symmetrical to me, it like stands out, like crazy. So when the carriage
it's like, oh, you made a mistake. You weren't trying to do that.
When the carriage pulled, it wasn't like the hole in the carriage wasn't perfectly
with the path.
That path didn't go perfectly through the middle.
Yeah.
It was a little offset to the side. And this is that guy's vision. I'm sure that was all on purpose, but to me it was like, why wasn't that? You were so close to having it symmetrical. It bothered me. I was like, oh my god! I wanted like
that was almost perfect.
The photographer in me wanted to be like, oh, I'd love to see that shot with just that carriage. Like if I was on that set, I'm like, can we just move that carriage just a little bit that way? Perfect. Yeah. That was a great scene. But that whole set. And so then when he asked for the locket, he knew that was her in the locket. And when he was like, I'm sick, and I think I should leave, and he was like,
it's like,
no, you're not leaving. Yeah, and but like weird that he kind of stumbled across his little grave, his little bed, his little like that he was sleeping in.
Yeah.
Or that he appears there.
I feel like he was kind of led there. I don't know. I feel like when you're near him or in his
but he had to break into that area to get to that.
Much free thought.
Yeah.
You're kind of like everything you do is kind of you're led to like do that.
Yeah.
Because in a way, like he did want him to see him. He did want him to know.
Yeah.
And I think that it was just like he was playing a game. It's like little by little, I will reveal myself to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing, was consequence. Is like you have to, you did this, and these are your consequences. You have to, and not be married for the rest of your life for one. But now that once you're married, you have to give yourself. You have to make it right, and you've already, so many people around you have lost their life because of that.
But it's like I don't like she would have dreams and she would have these possessions and these night terrors and stuff like that, but she never got married, so it never got to the point of this level of terror and like harassment almost from him.
Yeah. So she had one of those dreams before she was the opening scene where she was like giving herself over to a spirit to take me, whatever. She was having all these visions before that. So yeah, you can't really blame her for doing that. Like she was like tortured since she was a kid, I guess.
Yeah.
So she was looking for an easy way out, and it was this guy was just evil, and he took. But that is also like you have to put yourself, like if you're the person who deals with that, like the bigger thing to do. It's kind of like being like a toxic red flag, and like if you know that about yourself, then you know to stay away from people and not.
But it's also like a dream too, because she's like that is real. That happened, but did it happen? Like none of that, none of the horrors happened yet.
They're just dreams.
They were just they did, but yeah, like she was still able to like wake up and like live her life.
Yeah.
So I don't like. Yeah. I feel like I don't blame her for wanting to find solace with her friends and like, like I don't think she could be to blame to say like, oh, well, I knew this was going to happen. Like she did know, but like at the same time, like.
And she had finally found happiness when she met him. So she thought maybe that was over. So she was finally feeling calm.
Yeah.
So and then once they were married, and it was starting to creep back in because she'd awoken him. So like you're no longer mine. Like you're giving yourself over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like that's a really toxic trait. Like if if you're dating somebody and like you're fine with them, but then once you find out there was somebody else, like those emotions come back up. It's like, wait, no, you're not allowed to be with somebody else. It's like I just wanted you to be single, not with me. I didn't want you like. So then, like, you want to like get them back because they're with somebody else.
Yeah, it's
This I tell you, this Nosferatu. Take that over again. I'll tell you, this Nosferatu, not a good guy.
Not a good guy.
So yeah, that was. Then there was also the idea of consent was funny to me. Because he told the Rat King that I guess that guy wanted to be the Rat King. The guy at the end.
he was funny. He was the
he's slightly comedic relief. Willem Dafoe had some
a little, but that guy was great. His like running down I giggled at that.
To me, it was too gross at times to be like genuine comedic relief. Yeah. Like you can't bite head off a pigeon and be like, he's funny though. You know?
But certain things that he did, like. The running scene, and then when he got stabbed in the coffin, and he was like, "But I wanted to be the king."
He promised me that I would be, I would be the Rat King, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, but he said he's only loyal to your wife. Well, he only whatever it was cares for her. But it was funny because he sent her. I don't even know why he did. He sent him to get her and said, but you can't, I don't want her stolen. She has to come on her own free will. So I'm like, he wants consent at least. He doesn't want to just take this person. Like, this is it's an interesting twist to me. It was like, he wants her to want to come back to him. But then that guy never did that. He just went and showed up by himself. He showed up at her house or where she was staying, which I thought was like, what was the mission you were sending this guy on to bring her to you? But then it was funny because like I'm giving you this consent. I want you to pick me. You have to claim that you want to be with me, and that's the only way I'll be with you. But if you don't do that, then I'm going to kill everyone around you. I'm going to make your life unlivable. So it's like that's not consent. Like you know what I mean? That's like a lesson.
I think that's also part of the vampiric lore, right? It's like,
you have to invite somebody in.
Yeah.
They can't just come in your house. And like, right. So but like with this, it was like, it's funny because my initial reaction was like, oh, he wants consent, but it's not. That would be like, you're asking a woman out, I want you to go out with me, but only if you want to go out with me.
Yeah.
And she says, I don't want to go out with you. It's like, okay, well, just so you know, if you don't go out with me,
there will be repercussions.
I'm gonna blow up your car. I'm gonna make sure you get fired from your job. So it's like, so do you want to go out with me now? It's like, I guess I have to. So, that's not a little bit of messaging there too. And then at the end, I thought, the idea of lust and greed, like or giving into the lust and greed when you know that it's damaging to you. That he's lost track of time. Their lovemaking. She was like more, and like she just drew him in, and he couldn't help himself. The passion, the lust, he couldn't. Like, he just wanted her so bad that it killed him. And it's like that's another message is like that greed, that inability to check your own desires will be your downfall. And that was with him. It was like it was like the light came in, and he was like
he kind of looked at it for a minute, and it almost was like, oh wait, like he's fine. And then
and then you heard the rooster, the cock-a-doodle-doo.
They kept saying that when the cock crows.
Yeah,
they said it like four times.
The first cock's crow. Yeah.
I'm like, all right, enough with the cock.
Yeah, there's another great message. Like that's it was a great point. Like even this evil guy, like is not strong enough to resist that.
Yeah. So like, I think I'm just that his initial kind of turning was from being possessed, like a demonic type of possession on his own, like for him, and now he's like evil. So it's not like he yearns to do this. It's more like he's just driven to do it.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's just like a bad guy. Yeah. He's overcome with just these pure evil and like the plague. Gross.
That too.
Like it just comes from like I guess the rats off the boat and bring the plague.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so cute. The rats can be so cute. Like
I know, but
it's like
you saw them coming off. Like how many there were.
Yeah, that's gross.
And how do you stop that at that time?
In real life, like they do just transport so much disease. Like that's just because the nature of how they live. It's like it's unfortunate that you see them and you're like, it's gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems that those plagues back then, people just skin and
what is that, necrosis, right?
Yeah.
Your limbs just start dying.
Yeah.
And
then when
rotting.
When the one guy went to see his family in the tomb, and like first of all, like those tiny little caskets. How sad is that? Like a short casket.
I thought that was cute. Yeah, when they were like
cute.
Well, yeah, like because when they were walking and holding them. Yeah, they were like all short.
Yeah. And then, like, were we led to believe that, like, he was with his wife one more time? Like, that's
what I thought. That's what I thought, but I don't know. Maybe we're just
sick.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like he was
laying on top of her with her leg kind of like that, and he did bring her up and kiss her. But it could have just been a sweet thing. He could have just held her.
Like, did he know he was dying? Like, because it seemed like he had gotten the disease and was dying. Yeah. So it's like, if I'm going to die anyway, like, let me.
Yeah, he stood outside of the.
You should know what those are. Those it's your favorite thing.
I don't know if it's like a mausoleum thing, but he like had his cape on and just dropped it and was like, "Fuck it," and just.
It's like I'll be dead anyway, so like I'm as close to dead as I'm gonna be, and I might as well be with my wife.
Yeah, just pushed the top off and picked her up.
Yeah, that was. I'm thrilled. I mean, I will watch it again. I feel like that was one of those movies that I'm like if I catch this movie again, I'll definitely sit down and watch it.
Oh, so there's one that was made in 2023.
Really?
Yeah, I never heard of it, and the Count was played by Doug Jones, who was he's like a really tall, like lanky actor. The Shape of Water he was in.
Okay. Yeah.
And Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doug Jones. Yeah, I know this guy.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see that.
You want to see that now?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's got big shoes to fill. I don't know. This was just like a cinematic masterpiece in my mind. You know, I think I was definitely sold. The visuals are what sold it to me. Like I said, this isn't really my theme of a movie, but
But the guy who made it, I looked it up. I didn't know this beforehand, but he was part of the Lighthouse.
yeah, which I didn't love.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh,
I thought visually, same thing. I thought it was really pretty visually.
Yeah,
but
right.
I didn't like that movie.
The Witch.
Never saw.
Yeah, I liked that too.
Yeah.
So a bunch of things that
I was excited
liked
about the Lighthouse, and I thought it was beautiful. I don't know if it was the same cinematographer, but yeah, I didn't care for that. Let me look that up. Keep people interested while I look up. Yeah, so that was the Lighthouse. So he must like working with Willem Dafoe.
Mm-hmm. I like that
Same guy.
Willem Dafoe's character. It was.
Yeah. I was an easy believe that I would have assumed that was the way it looked, but yeah.
That he really enjoyed setting things on fire in the movie. He was all about that.
I thought about that the last scene. Like, was that all done in real? Like, did he really set those fires? And if so, like, what a cool scene!
He looked so happy doing it.
Yeah, he's so good. I mean, he's such interesting choices. And he was so dusty. He was just sitting there, and like they patted him, like dust still came up. But he was all happy to see the guy. Yeah, it was a great choice for that role.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Nosferatu. More like Nosferatu 3. I give it a Nosferatu 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
No, not a 10 out of 10.
Oh, okay. That's
visually
some
10
serious.
out of 10. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's this. So the themes of it are not really my thing. But the fact that I was as drawn into it with it being those themes speaks for, I think, what it is.
Yeah.
You know how. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much for watching. And
Bye.
We'll see you soon for probably a complete unknown. If you're watching these in order. If you stumbled upon this in the year 2028, then none of these movies are relevant to you. Bye.
Bye.